Hi, I'm Guna Mathivanan. Welcome to Simply Current Affairs. Today will be the third episode of Economics Explained initiative. Previously, we discussed GST 2.0, we discussed about forex reserves, balance of payments, and the related topics in detail. So, in today's episode, we will be discussing about ways and means advance. If you haven't watched the previous videos, please go and watch that first. Friends, I'm coming up with an exclusive current affairs course and economy full course targeting prelims 2026. If you are interested to know more about these programs, you can click the link given in the description. The classes are starting from 11th of October and 15th of October respectively. So when I was reading the Economic Times, I came across an article which was saying that the Reserve Bank of India has said that the limit for the ways and means advance for the central government for the second half of the financial year will be 50,000 crores. For the second half of the financial year, the ways and means advance limit has been fixed at 50,000 crores. See, to understand this article with full clarity, we should know what is ways and means advance. But even before that, let me remind you some important functions of Reserve Bank of India. See, we all know Reserve Bank of India will regulate the banks. It will regulate the banks, banking activities, that we all know. Apart from that, RBI has several important functions. For example, RBI is entrusted with the task of maintaining price stability, right? It is entrusted with the task of stimulating growth, also maintain exchange rate stability. Okay, see, among these three, maintaining price stability is the most important function of the RBI. About this only we have discussed in detail, where we have discussed. So in the day one of our editorial analysis initiative, I explained about flexible inflation targeting in detail. Though it is editorial topic, I explained about flexible inflation targeting in detail, where I explained the functions of RBI. I explained what is the role of Monetary Policy Committee, how RBI controls inflation, what is flexible inflation targeting. Kindly go through this article, it will be very, very useful. Right. So, there are several functions which I have mentioned. Apart from that, you should also remember that RBI is the banker of both central government as well as state government. So, RBI is the banker of central government and state government. Not just that, RBI is the banker for the banks as well. See, banker means very simple. I have account in IOB. So, IOB is the banker for Guna. Like that, for IOB, RBI is the banker. Like how I deposit money in IOB, I withdraw money from IOB will deposit money with RBI, withdraw from RBI. Like that, like how I have account in IOB, Government of India, state governments will have account in RBI. That is what is called as, that is the RBI is the banker for both central government as well as state government. Right. There are many other functions. In some other video, we will discuss every function in detail. Now we will discuss about this. So RBI is the banker for government, both state as well as center. Now, government like us, means what? Say, Guna, I get monthly income. I will have monthly expense. Like that, Government of India also will get monthly revenue and they will have monthly expense payments. Okay, so we will refer the revenue as receipt. We will refer it as receipt. Okay, so government will get monthly receipts and government will have monthly expenditure. Okay, sometimes the receipts may not be sufficient to meet the expenditure. See, you take Guna is earning, let's say Guna is earning 10,000 rupees per month. Every month my expense will be 8,000, no problem, sir. Suddenly in one particular month or some month, my expense got increased. Guna is earning 10,000, my expense is 12,000. Okay, so like this, you also would have faced, I have faced. So like this, government also will face. So government, every month they will be getting some receipt. Every month there will be some expenditure. Sometimes the expenditure, some months the expenditure can be more than the receipt. In that case, so what I will do when my expense is more than my income, what I will borrow. I will borrow for a short term. Like that, government also borrows for a short term. They will borrow for a short term from Reserve Bank of India through a window which is called as ways and means advance. That's all, very simple. So it is a short-term borrowing. So government, to meet temporary liquidity mismatch. That means, see, government's revenue, or we'll say like this, government's expenditure in particular month or in a particular quarter. Okay, government expenses, assume it is more than the government's revenue. Government expense is more than the government revenue, and that is not going to be a permanent problem. Okay, so whenever there is some temporary mismatch, temporary liquidity mismatch between the government's revenue and the government's expenditure, in that case, government will borrow for short term from Reserve Bank of India through a window called as ways and means advance. Sir, what is a short term, sir? For what duration they will borrow? Government will borrow for a duration of 90 days. So, under ways and means advance, government will borrow money for a short period of 90 days. Sir, will this carry interest? Yes, this borrowing carries interest. Sir, what will be the interest rate? The interest rate will be equal to repo rate. The interest rate will be equal to repo rate. Sir, what is repo rate? You might be knowing it. Repo rate is a detailed topic. Now, just for immediate understanding, I will give you an easy way to understand repo rate. Repo rate is the rate at which commercial banks borrow from RBI. So, we have Reserve Bank of India. Another side, we have State Bank of India. Now, State Bank of India, when they borrow money from RBI, when State Bank of India, when they borrow money from RBI will charge interest. That interest is called as repo rate. Repo rate is the rate at which commercial banks borrow from RBI. The same rate is what RBI will charge from the government under this ways and means advance. So, ways and means advance, short-term borrowing, the borrowing is for 90 days, the interest rate will be equal to repo rate. So, what if the government repays beyond 90 days? Now, government has borrowed to repay within 90 days, but if government is going to repay beyond 90 days, then in that case, for that extended time period alone, the interest rate will be more than repo. For example, government borrowed money. If they repay within 90 days, the interest rate is repo rate. If repo rate is 4%, then ways and means rate also will be 4%. But if government is not repaying within 90, government is repaying after 150 days, then for the extended time period alone, the interest rate will be more than repo rate. Okay, how much? Not important. It will be more than repo. That is what we have to keep it in mind. Apart from that, sir, how much money government can borrow? Can government borrow any amount of money from RBI under this ways and means advance? No. So a limit will be fixed. Both Government of India and Reserve Bank of India, they both will mutually agree to a limit. Usually, the limit is set on a half-yearly basis. For every 6 months, the limit will be set. Okay, so now why it was in news? See, now look at this news article. Now you will understand. So, Reserve Bank of India, they have set the limit for ways and means advance. The limit is 50,000 crores. Okay, so this was discussed with the Government of India, RBI. After discussing with the government, they have fixed the limit at 50,000 crores. That means under the ways and means advance, for the second half of the financial year. Second half of the financial year means what? What is financial year? Financial year starts from April 1, it will go till next year, March 31st. So the current financial year is April 2025, it will go till March 2026. Second half of the financial year means it starts from October, November, December, January, February, March. That's 6 months. For the second half of the financial year, the ways and means advance limit has been set as 50,000 crores. So in that 6 months period, under ways and means advance, government can borrow up to 50,000 crores for what interest? For repo rate. For repo rate interest. If repo rate is 4%, then ways and means advance rate also will be 4%. Sir, is it possible for the RBI, government, to borrow more than 50,000 crores? Is it possible to borrow? Yes. Under the ways and means advance only, government can borrow beyond the limit. But if government is borrowing beyond the limit, for that excess borrowing, the interest will be more. Regular repo is 4%. For example, up to 50,000 crores, Government of India is borrowing up to 50,000 crores, interest will be 4%. But if Government of India is borrowing another 10,000 crores, that means 50,000 crores plus 10,000 crores, 60,000 crores, okay. Now in that case, for this 10,000 crores, government will be charged, or RBI will be charging an additional interest. Along this 4%, an additional interest will be charged. So what will be the additional interest, sir? That is also mentioned in the news article. The news article, they have mentioned it. They have mentioned, just a minute. They have mentioned that the interest rate on the ways and means advance will be the prevailing repo rate, and an overdraft beyond that limit. If the government is borrowing, then the interest will be 2% above the repo rate. That means up to 50,000 crores, let me assume repo rate is 4%, then up to 50,000 crores of borrowing under the ways and means advance, the interest rate is 4%. If you are going to borrow extra, right, 10,000 crores extra, for which 4% plus 2%, that is 6% will be charged. This is what the article is all about, right? So this ways and means advance facility was introduced in the year 1997. So it is a temporary liquidity arrangement that meets mismatches in receipts and payments. Under the scheme, center and states can avail this facility, right? Both have to return the amount within 90 days. The interest will be existing repo rate. However, the government is allowed to draw amounts in excess of their limits. The interest on such overdraft is usually above the repo rate. The limit for the ways and means advance, it is decided by the government and RBI mutually. So this is a news article. Limit is 50,000 crores. It was decided in consultation with the Government of India, and the overdraft amount will be 2% above the repo rate. Right? Clear? I hope you got clarity on ways and means advance. So now you construct a multiple choice question based on what we have discussed. Because when we set the question, when we set a multiple choice question, our understanding will improve, and we will also understand the neck of the question setter. So you set the question, put it in the comment section, I will solve, let every other aspirant also solve and get benefited. I hope our initiatives are adding value in your preparation. I hope you are liking it. Please share your feedback in the comment section. We have also started the hit list series, current affairs hit list series. Kindly watch that playlist as well. Right friends, I will see you with another interesting editorial explained episode. Till then, bye. Take care from Guna Mathivanan.